So I decided to start a new project on the car, something I've been meaning to do for a long time. So since I got the half cage welded in, I've had these, I guess you call them speaker supports or rear seat supports that they kind of look like they stand out quite a lot, and I've always wanted to cut them off. So I started doing that. Didn't really film too much of it, but as you can see, I had a lot of fun with the grinder. Wee. What you up to? What you up to? Come here. Play mongrel. I've got my helper here today too. You gonna help me, are you? Just don't shut the boot on my head. So obviously before starting in the boot I had to remove everything out of there, and I had a complete RB sitting in here. So that's been pulled out. So that's at the block there. The head is somewhere. There's the head. And every other green package is various bits and pieces that go along with it. I also picked up a new block. An RB purist should be able to figure out what it is. Looking at that block height, there's a standard one. So we're using the new block for the race motor. Just collecting parts at the moment, not going to start that for a wee while. But I just thought I'd explain it so I don't get asked later on. And when I say race motor, it's not like this is going to be a fully fledged race car or anything like that. Decided to keep it like a mullet. So the interior is going to remain pretty much as it is now, mostly stock minus the seats, harness and wheel, and of course the rear will be stripped out as you see it there with the half gauge. So the technique I've been using so far is essentially started off with the cutting disc and cut the big pieces off. Yeah, you see there. And the finer pieces I got in there with a Dremel. Unfortunately, the Dremel wasn't very hard wearing on such thick plates, so it kind of burnt the discs out really quickly. God damn it. Another one. So ended up using the flappy disc on the big angle grinder. Grinding down, didn't use any spot rivet removal tools or anything like that. I just kind of ground it flat and they just popped off. It's a bit tricky in these angles here, taking a bit longer of course, and have to be careful not to overheat the metal. I've already had the underseal in this well smoking, so easy as she goes. Right, I'm obviously using a battery powered grinder, so I can only go as long as the battery lasts, which isn't too long, maybe 10-15 minutes at a time, so it does take a wee while to get there. So I will chip away at it, time lapse this, and should be done in no time. I don't know if you can see that. So if I stay in one spot too long, that's what happens. A little bit of smoke, but yeah, we'll get in there. I'll just have to keep alternating the spots around. So what I do is I bend this up only a little bit. So I bend these pieces up just to figure out where the spot weld was, and then I attack that spot weld and these pieces just kind of fall off. But obviously I stayed in one spot for a bit too long there, and yeah, heated the underseal below. So that's one battery pack down, and the other side's almost done. Just need to get rid of the strip here and maybe that bracket. But obviously where the sparks fly, fire tends to happen, so you've got to be pretty careful and usually have a fire extinguisher or something on hand. As you can see here in this towel, yeah, burnt a hole into that, so fire risk is real. It's also time I got rid of the blue. So I'm going to pull off these hoses. The bottom one's leaking anyway, and it's the second time it's leaked, so time to sort it out for good. But yeah, I'll replace this reducer, the overflow line, and the top and bottom radiator hose with black, and we should be all back to black. Okay, that was a little bit messier than I would have liked, but we have the hoses off. And I guess these little guys aren't safe from the anti-blue movement either, so I'll get those off, and we'll get the intake reducer off, and then we'll go find the new black parts. I'm in luck. It looks like I've got some black silicone hose in storage, so we'll pop that onto the intake. Alright, one down. 1, 2, 3 to go. Right, admission time. What you just saw I filmed a few months ago, and the car kind of sat around for a while. I carried on with the rear, chipped away at grinding off those tabs and bits and pieces, and then life caught up, got busy, and the car kind of sat around for a wee while. So fast forward a month or two, and so the car is now completely road legal, and as you can see, we are in Taupo for a track day. And who else is here but Mr. B?
G'day!
So hose, ready to hose. Yep, got that replaced with that nice standard black stuff in the end, just tidies things up nicely. Couldn't find any black filters for the catch can, so I left those blue. Ended up with quite a nasty coolant leak in the bottom hose, so when it was in for its warrant, being that Cheers Auto replaced that with just a straight piece. What else? Ended up having to get the seat rail mounting points re-drilled and tapped. They were quite badly threaded, couldn't get them bolted in, so again, being at Cheers sorted that out for us. Had a seized caliper at the front, fixed the flexi in the exhaust, which was no longer a flexi but a stretchy. What else? New battery, and of course the warrant. So drove the car up for 5 hours last night from Wellington to Taupo, and we're all ready for a track day. It's been a good couple years since taking this car out in anger. I forgot how slow it is, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So we'll clean that up and get it ready for an orientation lap. It's a bit of a reunion with the two cars. I think the last time they were out on the track together was the last round of Super Lap in 2017. So Barend's car's seen a bit of change since the last time. You saw the wang video, where he installed the big wang. Since then he's just bombed the hatch black. Can you pop your boot, mate? Oh, he's also had the, whoa.
Crap in it, though. Oh, so warm.
He's had his stays welded in from DKM. Where are we? Oh, they're beefy, look at that. Yeah, so those are obviously needed to reinforce the rear section of the car from all that downforce. You don't want that rear section buckling under all that extra weight. You good on your Shane.
I'm not going to sit on it.
And also untested is this diffuser that DKM did for him. So first time on the track with the rear end changes, should be pretty interesting. So as a reminder, Barend's got a stock 1.8 with a EFR 6280, 6258. I think
Kind of stock of the valve traps.
yeah, you had to beef up the valve springs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty exciting car. We'll get some in-car footage of this at some point. Goals for today are just to have fun.
Yeah.
Totally have fun, and see if I can match the time that the FD did. With a bit more experience, I should get there hopefully, but time will tell. And on pit bitch duties today we have old mate Seamus, and Jason's joining us later on too.
I need to level out my wing. So, yeah, so that's the wrong size.
So it's obviously a new wing, so it's untested and not really dialed in, so I think the idea is he's going to get it at 0 degrees and go from there.
American hardware, eh?
What's it, Imperial?
Yeah, it's beautiful made. It's just that hardware stuff that the Yanks are so...
Yeah. No, it's a great wing. Nine Lives Racing did a great product here. We shall see how she goes.
This is not a right way to do it though. You kind of have to actually measure it from the chord of what call it a chord of the wing, and that, to do that, you actually take the end plates off and measure it from the start of the wing to the end. But this gives me a bit of a starting point.
Close to 90, eh? So it's first session done. I went out there with street tyre pressures, so probably not a good idea for the longevity of the tyres. So after a couple of laps, we got a bit mushy, got a bit slidey. So Shane's just lowering the tyre pressures now down to 30, and we'll go down to maybe 28, closer to getting out. Also have a bit of guard rub on the front. Jason's just on there with the old hammer handle. How'd it go?
Yeah, it looks right. We've got half your tyre on the handle now.
Nice. Yeah, so that should be hopefully enough. Hopefully enough. Alright, session number 2. Let's see if we can keep up with Barend. Shane's going to be going out passenger with him this time.
That was awesome.
What do you know? Another track day, another off.
Another off. I was on the brakes and then it was just like nothing. Yeah. So I had brakes.
No, that wasn't actually.
Were you holding it when it...
No, worse. No, I wasn't. I'd given up. I was looking through the viewfinder of the first couple of laps. Was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, I was struggling to get it in gear and I was like on brakes. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna make it. So I just straightened up. Yeah.
You saw that, you went to dip and dive at high speed and then went, nah, better not straight
it up, yeah.
Alright, still getting a little bit of rub, as you can see. So I need to give that a bit more of a bash. Yeah, don't want to cut through there. Just stopping for lunch, and I thought I would show the end result in here. So all the excess metal's been shaved off. I haven't had time to tidy it up and paint it yet, but that is the plan. The loom for the rear tail lights, as you can see, is no longer to be seen. That's all been tucked up there. So routed along essentially the guard and out that hole. So it just tidies things up in here a little bit. Car's going alright. Hopefully I've sorted out the guard rubber shoes now after a third attempt at getting some clearance, and lowered the tyre pressures down to 30. So yeah, we've got a bit more grip for a bit longer and it's not so slippery up there. So a few more sessions before we pack up and head back to Wellington today.